Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Creative Act, A Way of Being. I'm on page 191. And the two chapters I'm talking about today is the completion and the abundant mindset. And I was kind of eager to talk about this yesterday. And honestly, I don't really be seeing how long some of these are until I'm done recording them, and I just like upload them. Like, oh shit, it's 35 minutes, or it's 20 minutes, or it's 11 minutes. So I'm not really timing myself. I'm kind of just having a conversation with you guys. For you that pay attention and like actually listen to the whole thing and watch the whole thing, I really appreciate your time and your interest in the conversations that I'm just putting out into the world. It's one of those things that I do enjoy. I do enjoy conversations. I do enjoy podcasting. And I think I'd rather get all these crazy thoughts that are up in my head out into the world so that you guys can have fun and experience it in your own way. Before I get too started and into it, shout out YBG Studios. It's a Wichita brand. Shout out YBG. Go check them out. They make custom one-on-one pieces. They're really sick. This was a gift from my sister. And then YBG. I keep wanting to say YGB. That's why I'm like looking at it. YBG. They threw in an extra shirt. So thank you so much for that. Real quick before we get the week started, yesterday was Memorial Day. Uploaded a video, and again I realized after uploading that my mic wasn't on, and it was because I had I won't make any excuses. It just like I think the cord was not plugged into the phone, so you guys got to hear everything from the phone. That's how loud my voice is. So I appreciate you watching it. If you did watch it or got annoyed with the audio, I apologize, but I didn't want to re-record it. I was like, nah, I'm not re-recording it. Those are like real thoughts in real time. I'm not going to try to fabricate them again. So it is what it is. Sometimes and this is what the process is with these. I'm just putting them out there and not really thinking too much of about it. And I'm enjoying that process. Today, my eyes like really red because I slept in my contact and it like really hurts, sensitive to light right now. So I have one contact in, so bear with me. I have to like go like this. But today's topics are again completion and the abundant mindset. So I really wanted to read this yesterday just to get to page 200, but I knew I've been realizing like as I have two inserts, if they interest me a lot, then I just stick to that. Today, I'm going to split these videos up so they're not as long and you can kind of take them how you want. So this first video will be about completion. So once I'm done with that, then I'll stop and then make a second video about the abundant mindset. So you'll get two videos today. You can split them up and watch them however you want. But I think these are two really great conversations. The idea of when something is completed, as far as like your idea or the thing that you're working on, when is it completed? When are we done with it? Like, when do we say the work is done? And like, how do we decide to put it out there? And the idea that do we hold on to it too long? So I think that's a great topic that everyone can relate to as an artist. And the other one is the abundant mindset. And I'll get it to that video, but if I'll give you a brief like overview of what it's talking about. So if you're interested in watching that part of the video, then go check that one out after this. But the abundant mindset solely focuses on the idea of putting yourself in that thought that you have an abundance of creation within you, abundance of creative energy, abundance of ideas, versus like holding on to work and thinking like it's going to define you so much, and then thinking this idea has to be the best idea I ever come up with because I won't come up with any other ideas. And the moment we start to think like that, like, oh, this is my best work, or this is gonna be my best work ever, or this is better than what I used to make, or it's not as good as what I used to make. When we start to train our minds like that, then we unknowingly, subconsciously start creating the wrong mindset that doesn't allow for more of a river-like flow of ideas. So I think that's a great chapter that I think if you're interested and you have that problem, then check that one out after this. So let's get into completion. he says we can think of completion phase as the last stop on the assembly line. The finished piece is examined to ensure it meets your highest standards. If it doesn't meet them, you send it back to be improved. Once it does, you sign off on it, let it go, and begin the next chapter of your life's work, whatever that may be. He goes on to say, give it to a mint. Okay, so before I get into that, he just like letting us. He's defining it for us in this these first few paragraphs of like what the completion phase is. He talks about that we leave behind discovery and building. He's saying these are the finishing touches. These are fine tuning on everything. That this is the color correcting. This is putting the frame on the photo. This is tweaking the final mix. This is like rereading a manuscript to make sure it's right. So this is the phase that we're in. And then he goes on and he immediately starts to say that we start inviting people in. We give it to somebody and ask for advice and see what they think of the final piece. And he mentions to be careful about who you give it to. He suggests that you give it to a mentor versus a friend, and this is what he directly says. Give it to a mentor, and our perspective shifts in a different way. We interrogate ourselves when we offer our work up to others. So again, he says we interrogate ourselves when we offer our work up to others. We ask the questions we didn't ask ourselves when we were making it. Sharing it in this limited capacity brings our underlying doubts to light. So he first mentions like when you share it, if you share it to a friend, they might give a perspective that has nothing to do with what you're looking for, and they might just say it's great because they're your friend, or they might give you an opinion that you won't even listen to because you don't maybe respect them as much in the art field, or you just hear it and it is what it is. So, which I'm back and forth about that. I think hearing it from a person that knows what you do, like a friend maybe in regards to someone that you talk to all the time, they have their own life, you have your life, you guys stay in touch, and you do respect them as just an audience member, and you're kind of testing with audience members. So I do think there is some kind of balance to that, but I get what he's saying, that regardless of what it is, we start to like doubt things that weren't being doubted before. So we got to be careful about who we give it to. He goes on to say, He goes on to say, when you give your work, you need to listen and understand the person, not the work. People will tell you more about themselves than about the art that you're giving when giving feedback. Occasionally, a comment will strike home. It will resonate with something we feel, either in an awareness or just behind it. And then other times, a judgment will hit a nerve, and we find ourselves defending the work or losing faith. So he's just kind of like relating to this is what happens during that moment. And it's true. Like I definitely have felt those things before. He's saying when you're collecting feedback, before disregarding any of the feedback and you're getting offended or like, just feeling defensive, take a moment to see if they're pointing to an underlying problem you hadn't noticed. So he puts it in an example. He says, if there's a suggestion to remove a bridge of a song, you might interpret it as it's worth re-examining the bridge. He puts it in relation to music. I would put it relating to my writing. If someone doesn't understand a scene, or they suggest like how to change a scene, maybe you're not taking their suggestion necessarily, but just thinking about how you can rework it. Or if they don't understand a question that you're proposing, or they wonder a little bit more on a scene than you thought that they would, then it's more about don't take exactly what they're saying as advice, but more maybe just work on it on your own. He goes on to say, if you're truly created an innovative work, it's likely to alienate as many people as it attracts. The best art divides the audience. If everyone likes it, you probably haven't gone far enough. In the end, you are the only one. My missing contact is messing with me. I'll go like this. In the end, you are the only one who has to love it. This work is for you. And I have a lot highlighted. So I definitely feel like the thing that struck me the most on that was the idea that it's likely, if you truly created an innovative work, it's likely to alienate as many people as it attracts. So when you're thinking about like when you're sending and wanting that feedback from somebody, you can assume and know, you should assume and know that not everyone should like it. And if everyone likes it, it's probably not unique enough, I think, is how we should take that. It's, you're not pushing yourself creatively enough. And with that being said, if your work is completed and everyone likes it, and there's not people hating on it, maybe it's like a balance of like, okay, next time I need to push my creative bone a little bit more and try something new. And I've seen that. I've definitely seen that and read those things in my work. I definitely think when I'm trying to create more for, are people gonna like this, it always ends up being a little bit more like underwhelming to me, versus like if I try something that I haven't done before and then it like looks unique and it falls short of my goal or my intention, I still like it because it's really different than what I'm used to. One of my favorite examples of this is this Adrian Harding video that I did featuring Filmer. Shout out Lyric and Adrian, two really great guys and YouTubers. If you don't know them, go check them out. After this video, of course, don't go right now. But this video that I shot for them last year, we took so long to make it, and we kept going back and like picking up scenes, and we kept changing the edit just here and there, and we like literally went back to locations and reshot some scenes, which is something I normally wouldn't do with the music video. But we didn't have he had like, okay, I'll put it two things. We didn't have everything we absolutely wanted, but we tried to do a lot of really fun things. Like almost I would say every 4 to 6 bars or something like that, we were changing scenes. And so there were so many scenes that we had to get, and there was all these like little inserts, like vignettes, like the whole video was a vignette pretty much, which is something I've never done before and never approached. And it was so fun. And the scenes weren't overly complicated, but they were just fun to change them, change the lighting, change the scene. And I thought it was so cool, and probably some of the more unique work that I've ever made. It didn't get a crazy amount of views, but man, it was a really fun process to make it like that, and something new that I hadn't done. I was like, man, is this like the new way that I should make videos? That's how I felt, because I wasn't really trying to overly be creative with every bar, but it was just the fact that we were creating new scenes for each bar versus like having a master performance or something. So like I said, not everybody saw it. There's not a ton of people that like gave me any feedback on it, but it was a really fun project and I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was pretty inventive on my end. So tooting my own horn there. Go check that video out. Okay, so he goes on to say art doesn't, he goes on to, he starts to question like, when is the work done? And then like the work, and then he says the work is done when you feel it is. Art doesn't get made on the clock, but it can get finished on the clock. Meaning, as we're making the art, we shouldn't put a time limit, but then once it's in the finishing process, the completion phase, we need to put a timer so that we get it done. We actually need to set a deadline in the completion stage. He says that when the last chapter is about to end, we may create excuses to put off the completion of work. We find flaws that don't really exist. We make inconsequential changes. We sense the distance. We sense the distance mirage of some better creative option that hasn't been discovered yet. And if only we just keep working, it might arrive someday. When you believe the work before you is the single piece that will forever define you, it's difficult to let it go. The urge for perfection is overwhelming. It's too much. We are frozen. And sometimes we end up convincing ourselves that disregarding the entire work is the only way to move forward. So it's like, just like, oh, forget it, fuck it. Like, we don't need to put that out. And like, you just like let it be tucked away in the archive. Oh, that like frustrates me so much. It frustrates me so much when I make a video and then they don't release it. That's just like the most painful thing. Not it's a painful in that like we put the energy in, time was spent, money was spent, and we're afraid to just show people what we created. And there's an like I don't know what that reasoning is. There's not many videos that I've created on my own that I've held on to. Personally, like things that I actually have made for myself. I just like throw them out there. You see me, what I'm doing here, I'm just making the video and throwing it out. I don't give a shit if there's mess ups or if I'm messing up or I'm stalling or my audio is bad. I'm just like, whatever. You know, I'm trying to train my brain to just not worry about it and not care about any of that stuff, because in the end, it doesn't really matter. It's going to connect with someone and resonate to somebody. And so, yeah, that just, man, that's a very frustrating part. He says, perhaps still greater artists existed than the ones we know, but there will never able. Okay, hold on. I'll take this back because I only highlighted part of this. I don't really know why, but I didn't highlight this part. The only art the world gets to enjoy is from creators who've overcome these hurdles and released their work. Okay, I remember now. So again, he says, the only art the world gets to enjoy is from creators who overcome these hurdles and released their work. Perhaps still greater artists existed than the ones we know today. But, I added the today, so I misquoted it. But they were never able to make this leap. You could be one of the greatest artists right now watching this, but because your fear of releasing something is stronger than your desire to just move forward and create something new, you've now kept yourself from becoming the person you're supposed to be. He says, hanging on to your work is like spending years writing the same entry in a diary. Moments and opportunities are lost. The next works are robbed of being brought to life. He goes, how many pages will be left empty because your process was dampened by doubt and deliberation? Keep this question in the front of your mind. It might allow you to move forward more freely. In an environment where nothing is permanent, we produce static artifacts, mementos of spirit. We hope they will live forever, holding resonance through each passing decade. Some might, many won't. It's impossible to know. We can only keep building. Yeah, I mean, I won't hit a, what do they call, beat a dead horse or something? But I definitely think this is something that I know I've experienced when it comes to seeing work that I've created not be released, and not from it, like from a couple artists I work with, like they've done that a lot, not even just with me, with other people. And then there's other artists that I've heard of and I worked with before, maybe like 3 or 4 artists that I work with that have done that, and they're like, I hate this, I don't like this, blah blah blah. And I've heard of like people spend $1 million on a music video and they don't release it, or they spend some crazy amount of. There's people that done that to us where they spent maybe a couple $100,000 and they didn't want to release it. It's like, what? Or even like 100,000 or 70,000 or something like that, and they don't want to release it. And it's like, okay, like I don't get it. Okay. And from our perspective, it looks great. We're like, this is sick. Like, why aren't you releasing this? This is like fucking awesome, you know. And for whatever reason, they just don't connect with it. It's a very crazy thing to be in that position. So, yeah, I mean, I think him saying like, don't like just move forward with it, allow it to be what it is. It's a moment in time, and then it's not going to define you. It's like literally not going to define who you are or what you've done. It's not going to take away from what you've done. It's not going to be the reason you become the person that you're supposed to be. There's so many other moments in your life that you're going to be living that are going to help collectively define who you are. So don't hold on to those things. He says, concerns about releasing a work into the world may be rooted in deeper anxieties. It could be a fear of being judged, misunderstood, ignored, disliked. Will more ideas come? Will they ever be this good again? Will anyone even care? Part of the process of letting go is releasing any thoughts of how you or your piece will be received. When making art, the audience comes last. One of the greatest rewards of making art is our ability to share it. Even if there's no audience to receive it, we build the muscle of making something and putting it into the world. Finishing our work is a good habit to develop. It boosts confidence. Despite our insecurities, the more times we bring ourselves to release the work, the less weight insecurities has. Avoid overthinking. You may find it a struggle to keep yourself focused on the project at hand when new ideas start coming to you. Okay, so this is a good segue into the next video. So before I get into that last little bit, I'll go back and talk about that whole like deeper anxieties or why do we fear releasing things? And the note that I thought was really cool here was he says we build the muscle of making something and putting it out into the world. Like I thought about that and I was like, damn, you're like, he's right. You're training your brain to like not care as much. You're working on that idea of like working through anxieties, working through doubts, working through fears. And that is a process just like anything else. Just as we work on our bodies for good, better health, just as we read to get more intelligent or have more information to do better at what we want, just as we learn to love better, as we train ourselves to love people more, as we train ourselves to help others, as we have to train ourselves to train that part of our brain that's like saying, hold on to the video, hold on to the art. You're not done yet. You got to train your brain to just go ahead and release it, because when something is pretty much there. It's like, oh, cool, I can't fix this. There's nothing that I could change about this. It's done. Like, if we could re-edit as many times as possible, but until the intention and the creative energy that we put into it to make it what it is already there. And unless we spend more money or redo the whole thing again, like, which is not like, okay, that goes back to like people who reshoot their music videos. So that to me is still kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I've heard stories of people reshooting a music video and then it doing really well. So it must be really bad for someone to want to reshoot a video, or to like, or like it's totally misunderstood for people to want to do that. But even then, it's like, I still think that people when they want to reshoot a music video, when you listen to the music, unless the music is defiantly changing something or like really culturally different, like I don't think they should do that. It just seems silly. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this like whole idea, other than just get used to releasing stuff. Okay, say you're the artist, you're just the videographer. Maybe it's more about creating content. Nowadays, it's just more about content creation and making what you want to make. So you're a music producer, or like my great friend Shaq, who's one of the real GOATs, creative producers, creative directors. He produces music for a company that he started called Waypool, him and a few of his buddies, and a few music producers that are really talented. And they've been creating all this wonderful work. I'm like, bro, you guys need to release this stuff. And then, so they're working on this project. And one specific example that I won't even talk about that. I won't go into that. But I really enjoy hearing him make music. And I always try to make sure he understands, like, have that confidence. And Shaq, if you're watching this, have that confidence. Don't allow yourself to release that music other than for yourself. And like whatever they're creating is amazing. It's like super awesome. And I use it in a lot of our vlogs, like our vlogs that I've made in the past. Like I use a lot of their wave pool stuff. So he's super talented, him and his team, what they're doing. And so that's a direct example of like, okay, you're the person making it, you're a musician making it, or you're a producer making it. Release it. Trust that energy that you have, that vision. For me, and maybe you that's watching, a videographer, it's going out and just making pieces that we shouldn't overthink too much. If you want to go out and shoot the farmer's market, or if you want to go out and shoot landscapes, if you want to go make a car piece or something, just doing it with what you have and just creating and get used to it and put it out there, and then just continue to do it. Find something that is right in front of you and just create it. So for me, that's my daughter and my wife with my photography, which reminds me I need to go drop off some rolls today. But yeah, like I really, really love taking photos right now. I'm super into film photography, and I've been sharing them like crazy on my Instagram. I try not to overthink, and I'm like, oh, it's not color corrected right. Like I hate the fact that this is colored this way. Like I need to get better at coloring, and I have all these doubts in my head. I'm like, shut the fuck up and release this shit. Like who cares? No one's gonna like it anyway. Like you're gonna get like 100 fucking likes anyways. Like don't even worry about it. Like no one's gonna comment on it. Who cares? Like this is for you, because you're putting it in. You don't know how many people are seeing it and not interacting with it. I do that all the time. I see all these people's works that I follow, friends, and I don't hit the like button, or I don't comment. And I don't know why. I just don't. I just like keep scrolling. And so there's plenty of people out there that are looking at your stuff but just not interacting with it. And then you see them in person. They're like, oh man, I love the things that you've been doing. And you're like, wait a minute, you've never interacted with it. And so I'm like the same person that my friends are to me. So it is what it is. What it is. Like, don't take it too personal, I think, is what the idea is. So just release stuff and keep training that brain. Keep training it. Keep training it. Do what makes you happy. Do what makes you feel good, and the rest will come. Okay, so segue into the next video. So this is the last points he says before we get into it. You may find it a struggle to keep yourself focused on the project at hand. When new ideas start coming, this is a good problem to have. Riding the life force of the project to come out often breaks us out of the trance of the present piece. We can't wait to finish it because there's another idea calling that lights us up. So again, I'll read the first part again if you didn't hear it. You may find it a struggle to keep yourself focused on the project at hand when new ideas start coming at you. Yeah, I mean, like I'm 1,000%. I always say 1,000. I said that yesterday. I'm 100% like this. Stop saying 1,000, goddammit. I'm 100% like this. I will like be working on something and it'll be like frustrating the shit out of me, and I know I gotta finish it, and then all of a sudden I'm afraid to let new ideas happen. Even today, I gotta do some focusing on some projects coming up, and I know myself so much to where like when I look at a new project that I haven't seen, I get obsessed with some stuff because new ideas just start to come, and I don't do what I'm supposed to do for the day. Like right today, I got a shot list. I got to do some editing. I would love to turn in my film rolls today so I can maybe receive them by Friday. And so all these things like are priority to what I have going on that's coming up. And these people are reaching out to me recently. So I sometimes put priority because it's new and fresh, and what he's suggesting, which is good. So he's saying that's good, that you feel like eager to get to him, but that is what should motivate you to fucking finish what you got in front of you. Like, stop procrastinating, get it done, because you need it. That should motivate you to get to the new things. So yeah, I know myself too much. I'll procrastinate in the form of, oh, here's a new thing I need to do, and I'll go do that, and I'll put off whatever I'm working on just because something new is in front of me. And things will pile. So I've been a lot better about knowing that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to use this tip, which I think is great, to say, hey, yeah, you do have projects coming up. Get your ass in that chair, Finish what you got going on and stop overthinking it. You know, whatever you're going to do is going to be great because you're naturally great at it. And I think that's kind of like maybe the feeling. Trusting yourself in that completion phase, to not doubt it, not keep re-editing, not hold on to it so tight, just release it because you got other shit you need to do. You got other things you need to do. This one little thing's not going to define you. Maybe it resonates with certain people, but through time, your life's work is what is defining you, not just this one thing. So, and this is a great segue into the abundant mindset. So, I'm going to stop there. I'll stop, re-roll, and upload that video. But thank you guys for watching this one. Again, it's completion phase chapter out of the Creative Act Away Being by Rick Rubin. Thank you so much for watching again. Go check out the Abundant Mindset now. And if you haven't seen any of the other videos, go check those out too. All the shout out things. Follow Real Goats Instagram. Follow my Instagram at Rico Did if you want to see some of my photos. Follow Shaq Gonzo. Follow I Am Spicy Rico. Follow Fro Bandy Truth. All of the internal Real Goats. And then shout out all the other Real Goats that have ever worked with us. Much love. And yeah, have a great day.